Hey there, Adam here, and I'm going to try something new today. I'm going to show this process of this comic that I guess I'm starting today. I have done two other comics this year that I was kind of forcing myself to do to get back in. Well, not forcing myself, I wanted to do it, but years ago I did, as a teenager, I tried doing comics on paper, and then um, I don't know, in the about the last 10 years or so, I did some comics on Clip Studio Paint, Manga Studio, which is what I have the course on that's on my channel and on Udemy. But I hadn't really done many comics since about 2018 or so, I think. And then I just wanted to start doing it again. So I forced myself this year to do a few quick projects that were just really to get the ball rolling. The first one I didn't even illustrate with my own illustrations. I just used AI to illustrate it. It was pretty bad, but it was like, you got to start somewhere, and I just wanted to get going. So this third thing that I just recently wrote, um, I wrote out a script for it, and the way I write my script is I didn't really break it up into pages. I just wrote panel, panel, like so each of these is a panel, one, two, and it came out to like 180 panels, I think. And as I was nearing finishing it, oh, it's called Microplasticia. I guess that's the working title, anyways. As I got near finishing it, I was like, I don't really know if I want to waste time illustrating this because I've been doing a lot of illustrations lately, and let me show you. Actually, I've been putting them on my Patreon. I used to put things on my Instagram, and then at some point, like in the last year, I just kind of abandoned Instagram because I wasn't doing that well on it. And I just didn't care, and I don't like competing with the algorithm. So I kind of recently though started using my Patreon, which I hadn't really done anything with for since like 2016. And apparently I still have one paid member, amazingly. So thank you if you're watching this, but you're probably not. You've probably forgotten that you're paying, so it'll probably go back to zero. But I've been putting up, well, I've just put up a bunch of art recently that I just kind of have been doing, and I kind of like putting it up there more than Instagram because I feel like I'm not competing with any algorithm, and it's free too. Like it's not, these aren't paid posts. All you have to do is be a a free member. So if you want to see the art, just subscribe to my free Patreon, or you can pay if you want $1 or whatever. But I haven't really created anything yet that's paid. I don't know when I will or if I will, but for now I'm just putting up free posts to like keep it going. And I think most of the things I'll put up will be free. But I like that format that it's something that you can only. So if you're wondering why are these Donald Trump images showing up, it's because these are sorry, I can't talk. This is a character from the book Microplasticia. Her name is Pang, and then this is, I don't know what these are. These are just random images, and but I also had Donald Trump and Elon Musk as minor characters, so I was kind of trying to figure out how to draw them, and I kind of was leaning towards a more cartoony approach, but we'll see if I keep going um, with this graphic novel. Some of this is just abstract stuff, but I really like working in color, and as I was kind of working on the ideas for this graphic novel, I was thinking maybe I should do it in black and white because it's easier to print if I do want to print it eventually, or if I want to try and find a real publisher, it's easier to have it low cost with black and white. But then I don't know. I like working in color, and I think I just prefer working in color, and I think I want to just do it in color and not worry about how I'm going to market it or how I'm going to release it or whatever. I think most likely I'll just release it for free on archive.org like I've done with other stuff, and not worry about like the commercial aspects of it. I think if you're constantly trying to think about how you can fit something into some commercial package, you can kind of suck the life out of a project. And um, also, I think I was thinking about how I'm going to do this, and it felt like work. And I think if you're not doing it in a way that's fun, then you're not going to enjoy it and see it through. So I think I just need to do it however I want to do it. And these are some of the Elon Musk images. Some of these, sometimes I work from photos, sometimes I work just from drawings. This is a drawing I did for Elon Musk. Um, that was another issue. I was wondering, like, if I'm gonna use these real people as characters, do I need to like change their names like they do sometimes? Or on the other hand, you have things like South Park where they don't change the names and they just do it, and it's obviously satire. So I think since I'm not really looking for a publisher, I'm just gonna probably put it up for free on Patreon or archive.org. Is I don't need to change anything and I don't care, and just who cares? So that's probably what I'll do. But yeah, I do like working in color though, and I think that's what I'm going to do. And I guess I'm going to start right now and just see what what I'm going to do and what kind of look I'm going for. I think one thing I find difficult with doing comics is you have to do the same characters over and over, and you have to kind of make them look similar, which is something that, consistency is like a little more of a constraint and a little more of an effort for me anyways. Also drawing backgrounds, architecture, cars, things like that. So I kind of want to kind of cheat a little and use maybe ChatGPT or something to create images, and just like figure out whatever I can to cheat. This is a drawing I did from a movie I was watching. It was actually Sanctuary. I think it came out in 1931, based on a William Faulkner novel. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I think that's kind of like the best way to do a creative project is, one, don't, if you're finding it becoming work, then just try and finish it, but do it in as fun a way as possible, and don't worry about making it a package or following rules and stuff like that. Just do it in a way that you'll enjoy. So so yeah, feel free. Like I said, I'm not using my Instagram. I don't think I've used it in over a year, but maybe I'll use it again in the future. So feel free to follow that if you want, and or follow my Patreon. I'll put the links for both of them down below, and that'd probably be the best way to find if I finish this comic and whatever I do with it. So yeah, I had the first page. I guess I'll do the first page of this comic, which is just like, I said I didn't figure out where it's gonna break, so I'm probably gonna do these first four panels, I think. Which, first we have a shot of the Earth from space. I didn't really want to draw that, so I'll probably use a ChatGPT image to kind of. And then there's an outdoor shot of a building. I think I'll use ChatGPT too for that to cheat. And then inside a lab, I have two of the main characters, and then they just have a brief talk. Thing is too, like a lot of the dialogue, I'm like, as I was writing it, I was like, this is kind of stupid. I didn't care about it, and like I think that's something too. Like this is just a frame, and I'm gonna probably change a lot of this as I go along, and just make it as whatever I have to do to make it fun for me, and not worry about like being like any other thing, you know. So I guess we'll start. So I'm going to set up a page, and I'm using a pretty high resolution, 600, and normally I don't use these the templates or the borders and stuff like that, because I don't usually even worry about printing. I'm going to set it up though. I set it up this way in case I ever do want to kind of print it, although I've never done that process and I don't know what's involved exactly. But I'll just put how many pages am I do? I'll just add I'll put 30 pages for now, in case. I have no idea how many pages it's going to actually run. And then let's just go. So I'm using Clip Studio Paint. I think there's a newer version of Clip Studio Paint too. And but I'm pretty overall used to using Clip Studio Paint, and so it's kind of what I haven't used Photoshop in years, and yeah, it's probably what I'll continue using for the near future. I think I'll put a cover on eventually, but I'm not going to worry about the cover for now. I'm just going to get started with this. So the first page, I'm going to do a 4-panel page. So I could do, let's see. So we have the Earth. I think it's too, you don't have to really worry about, when you have like unlimited pages and you don't have to worry about formats. I think comics have kind of become like video, that there's, used to, you'd have like a 22-minute TV show with commercial breaks, and all that has kind of gone away with Netflix and YouTube and everything. So I think comics are similar. Like people work in all kinds of formats, and especially with digital formats, you don't have to worry about. Um, so let's take a look at the script again. So I have the Earth, then I have the lab shot, and then I have the two characters. I could do like a giant one page splash of the Earth, but it's like, what's the point? I don't think it really matters. So I'm just going to use the Earth. I'll just do, let's see, shot. Yeah, I'll just divide it into a simple four panel page, and the gutter I have is this thick. I guess that's about the size of the gutter I want. And one thing I don't know if it's still possible or not to do is like I don't think they have a decent way to like symmetrically divide the page in Clip Studio Paint. You have to kind of like eyeball it, or use a ruler. And so I usually just don't worry about it too much and just kind of eyeball it. But even like this, like I can't cut through to the bottom and get it even. I have to like go in and zoom on it, but whatever. I think my main thing with comics is just thinking, is this clear? Is this like communicating whatever it is clearly? And does it make more or less kind of sense? And I don't worry about like how perfect the image is. Okay. That's kind of how I get things to line up. Maybe there's a better way. And as I said, I had generated some images. No, I hadn't. I've only have this Earth image, so I'll import that. But let me do the lab image too. I think I was going to try just pasting the actual text into ChatGPT. The only thing I don't know how it'll handle if I just put shot. I don't know if it'll make sense of what that means. But let's find out. I haven't done a lot of image generation with ChatGPT, so we'll see. Create image. Go. Go. Actually, the main AI that I'm using is not ChatGPT. I usually use a different one for. I tend to use AI for like explanations of. I'm learning to program, so like learning to explain. If I'm having a problem with the code, I paste the code in and say, "What's wrong with this code?" And it will tell me, and it'll usually offer good solutions, things like that. Or if I'm learning something difficult, I just like, "What does this mean? Explain it better." And it usually does a pretty decent job. I don't know if how do you is there like ways to filter the types of image, or is it just always one? Yeah, I don't know. Well, I've used other image generators in the past that have more filters and options, but for now I'll give this a go. We'll see what happens. It's pretty slow though. I don't know what reason is. Think before responding. What does it usually do? Not think, it just goes. If there are any jump cuts, it's because I'm wait because of this long wait. I guess I'll in the meantime let me import the image for for this panel. So let's see, file, import image. Because I'm using this kind of vertical dimensions. I can't really. I mean, I could show the whole Earth, but I think it you get the point. Everybody knows what Earth looks like, and I could filter it a little or draw over it or something. But for now, I'm just going to leave it there like that and see what I can do with it later. And then I guess here I'll put the lab outside shot, and then the two shots with the women and in the lab. So let's see, is it done? Oh my God, it's still not done. So slow. All right, let's take a look at the. So for panel three, inside a lab, Glory. Those are the two characters, Glory and Peng. Glory is looking into a microscope. Peng stands nearby, assisting. Okay, there's dialogue. Blah blah blah. So what I usually do is, I do some kind of layouts panel, and it doesn't really matter what tool you use. I mean, you call it a pen, but um, I didn't create. I haven't used these kind of pre-formatted ones, but I didn't realize it doesn't create an actual thing to draw in. Okay, so there we go. Is that? No, that's not what I want. I need a panel that actually is in here. Okay, there we go. That's what I want. All right, so whatever I do in here, I'm just gonna do as a rough sketch, and then I'll do an actual inking. I guess I'll color it. Kind of strange to do this and explain it as I go along, because I'm kind of having to do two things at once, but I guess I'm sure I'll get used to it. Still not done. I've heard that it can have trouble with text, like, and you tell it to put text in or whatever, things like that. So we'll see how it handles that. Verbrighten Labs. I forget what Verbrighten is. It's a German word for something, but I can't remember what. Apparently I thought it was appropriate when I created that name, but I've since forgotten what it means. All right, so I guess I'm going to go ahead with the drawing instead of waiting for this all day. So let's see. Glory is looking into a microscope. Peng stands nearby. So I guess, let's see. I'll have I don't think I'm going to use this kind of narrow panel like this again. I don't like it overall. I think I like a wider panel, but I'll do what I can with it. Let's see. So I think I'm trying to have somebody like kind of looking at a microscope. So I usually do like a kind of a rough. I tend to build things up pretty roughly. I'm not the greatest artist, I have to admit, but I do what I can. I'll have it like the table here with some papers or something. Yeah, we're looking more into this. I don't think I've even drawn this Glory character, but basically she's a white blonde woman with I don't know how old she is, maybe 30 something. 30. Let's say she's about 30, and I don't know what that means. And then Peng is slightly younger. She's like her assistant. She's Asian. Am I doing the eyeballs like Asian? That's Adam. You're so racist. Come on. I guess I'll just have her kind of standing there. Actually, not really doing anything. And I also kind of want, I have this huge block of nothing down here, so it'd be a good spot to put in dialogue to cover like some of this, because it's not really relevant. And I have some space up here for dialogue. Those are things to keep in mind. I don't know if this is the best composition, but like I said, I just keep going and don't worry about it too much. ChatGPT is never going to finish this image, I've decided. So I'm abandoning hope of it ever finishing. So at this point, I could keep, actually, I'm going to just leave it like this for now. This is very vague, but actually, I'm not totally happy with this. I want to kind of lower this a little. So what I can do is let's circle it. Wait, I'm on subtractive. No, that's it. So what you do is circle it, and then I'm going to go like this and drag it down a little. You can make it a little larger. Yeah, like that. I want to use the space a little better. That looks a little better fit, I think. Okay, that'll work. And then in this other panel here, let's create a image. All right. And in this panel, what do we have happening? It's just slightly closer shot with just Glory, her eyes visible now. Usually the way I write this too is not for anybody but me to really understand it. It's like enough to make sense. Boss man. Some of this dialogue, I was just like, "This is horrible. I'm gonna have to change this later." But for now, that's what I do a lot. If I don't want to like linger on something, so I'll just put in like filler dialogue to keep the story moving, and then come back and dress it up later. So basically, this shot is just Glory, the white chick with. Don't allow. Why does Pages need my location? There's a much closer shot with her kind of looking at the other out of the corner of her eye, just like that. And we'll have the microscope still. I'm going to have to get some kind of reference for a microscope because I have no idea how to draw a microscope. All right. What is Glory? I kind of want her hair to be like kind of big. She's supposed to be kind of like a Midwestern white woman, family woman type. And I want Peng to be kind of visible over here too a little. So maybe like her arm, just her arm or something. Just to, like some shorthand to know she's still in the image. And they're going to be wearing like lab coats, which I should probably look up too, some kind of reference for that. So yeah, that looks like enough for that. I like this panel better than this panel. I'm going to have to figure out how to draw these better. I think I'm going to take a pause here. I don't know how long. OBS has given me issues with recordings before, and I don't trust it. So I'm going to take a pause, kind of flesh these panels out a little more, and hopefully, if ChatGPT ever finishes, I'll load in the outside image of the office building. It doesn't look like it's ever going to finish. I'll try again maybe and see what happens. So let's check back soon. Okay, so later. So ChatGPT is never finished, but I went to another website, Canva, which I've used before, I guess, and I was all set to use this image. I thought this looked good, but then I noticed that it misspelled what I had written, Brighton. For some reason, the other ones, it spelled right, but for that one, it spelled wrong, the one I liked the most. So I didn't go with that one. I went with this one, and I just basically dropped it in to Clip Studio. Where am I? Yeah, so I dropped it in. It looks not bad. I'm glad it spelled it right anyways. And so I'm going to start inking this panel, I guess, because I haven't finished this one. I just kind of want to show you how I start inking, I guess. And one thing I've done recently is switched. I mean, I don't know. I can change it back at any time, but I've kind of started using I like a really thick line on the edge, like that. And what I've done is I turned off pen pressure for the most part, I think. Yeah, so it doesn't matter how hard I press, it's the same width in all of it, which before I would have it a sensitivity, but I kind of like this because then it doesn't really matter. So with some of the hatching and things I was doing, I thought it looks a little better. So I'm going to try this for now and just show you how I kind of ink. Usually what I do is and again, inking is just a term nowadays since there's no real inking in pencil, or it's just whatever medium you want to use. So I usually do the outside first, and I don't know, I'm not too picky. Uh, okay. And then I kind of decide inside, am I going to keep that level of thickness or do I want like a lighter thickness? I think I'm going to go slightly smaller. How about there? And then I'll do like kind of these interior lines. I ended up giving her glasses, I guess. And I'm going to have that go behind the hair. So I don't need to worry too much about it. And then I think I must have like some level of stabilization on this. Yeah, it's pretty stable. It's actually not that stable, it's 6, but uh, and for me, I mean, there's so many different ways to pencil and ink and stuff, but for me, a lot of what I think of as penciling is actually erasing. I'll go back and I'll erase a lot of things. So I guess that's kind of what I'm going for. And so let me get a thicker line again. And then I'll finish her kind of face. Wait, that's horrible. Sometimes I have to rotate the page a little because the way you illustrate when you're using digital means is not, at least not the way that I kind of work when I'm working on paper, real paper. It's hard to like see how that looks. That looks horrible too. I don't want to like overthink it though and like linger on this all day. Yeah, sometimes I can draw things so many times before I get it kind of how I want it to look. All right, so let's just keep going. I like her. I did not end up looking for a microscope. I just kind of wanted to eyeball it and based on how I think a microscope looks, rather than use a reference for everything. Like I said, I'm going to erase a lot of this, but first I just want to get a general look down, and then I'll get rid of the blue lines, the background, the pencils that I did. Like I said, my big criteria is like, is this clear enough to figure out what you're seeing? Is it kind of make sense? That's the only issues. I'm not worried about like how perfect it is or how wonderful the perspective is. I've always wanted to be more of a cartoonist than a realistic person. Right. Okay, I think you kind of get the idea of what I'm doing. I'm going to stop here again, and I'll return later, I guess, when I've done more of this, and maybe we could look at how I do the coloring or something. So see you then. All right, some time has passed, obviously. As you can see, I've done a lot of working on this, and I've kind of made a decision, I think, that I wasn't expecting because I was planning to do this in color, but I started using this hyper hatch technique that I've been playing with lately, and I really like it, and I think I just kind of want to keep it in black and white. So I think it'll also allow me to finish the comic a lot faster. So I'm gonna avoid not do coloring, which I wasn't expecting, but let me show you how I do this technique. Basically, I select an area and then I use the subtractive lasso to remove what I don't want to be included. So I'll chop that out and I'll chop out some more down here. So just the edge remains. And then I use a stripe and I kind of, that's too thick. Let's see, so where's the stripe? Much, yeah, like a much lighter stripe, maybe a different angle actually. I'm still learning to get the look I want, but yeah, sometimes I'll do cross stripes. That's about it, I guess. Yeah, so it creates this effect. So I kind of like that look. I think I'm going to keep that for this book and just do it not in color, which, like I said, I wasn't expecting. But so that now you kind of see, I've seen the process. I started out with, let me turn off this. I started out with my rough sketches. This is about as detailed as the sketch was, and then I just started inking on that, and then I added the inks, and then I did that kind of hatching look thing, and then I got rid of the sketch, and now I'm I'll go back and do this panel. I also converted these images to black and white, so they're going to be black and white just for consistency. And then I'm going to show you how I do lettering just in case you care. So what the only panel, oh, in this panel, there's only one word, boss man, and it's a thought bubble. So how do I do thought bubbles? It's been so long. Let's see if I can even remember how to do thought bubble. So I have this space up here, obviously, that seems like the best location for this thought bubble. So so where are the thought bubbles? T. Okay, here we are. Balloon pen. I think I just did everything. I do everything with balloon pen and curve balloon, if I remember correctly. Okay, so I want a thicker bubble than that. But first, though, I write the text. So the text is just boss man. Oh, you know what? I haven't really decided what font I'm going to be using at this point. I'm going to turn off this this for a second so I can see what I'm doing. So the word is just boss man. Boss man? What is my default font? Digital. What do you guys think? Is this the font I should work with? That's not a bad font. Boss man? I guess I'm going to go with that font. That's a functional font for me. And where do I want this? Kind of have it up here. I did kind of make one kind of design mistake. I have her elbow kind of right up onto the edge, which you're kind of supposed to avoid that in design is having these layers like this. But I kind of like it. It looks like she's scrunched into the panel, but whatever. I'm going to leave it. And like I said, I don't want to stress too much about this comic. I just want to do it and move on to the next page. And do at least a page a day so I can finish it, hopefully within a month or so. God only knows. All right, so that's the font I'm going to use. And then I need to create a curved balloon pen. Do I use the balloon pen? It's been, like I said, it's been a long time since I've done this. Okay, I want a thicker edge than that to the balloon. Like that. Yeah, it's kind of like what I'm after. All right. And you can always, go in and tweak things afterward. I prefer not to, though. I've forgotten so much. Okay, I messed up. I'm going to go back and start it again. Okay, I kind of remember my process now, though, at least. So I'm on balloon pen, and yeah, it's too thin. For some reason, it went back. All right, that's about what I want. So I guess I'm going to go with 13 for the edges of the balloons. I kind of want to keep that consistent throughout the comic, unless, I'm using a much really large thought balloon or caption. Okay, so that's good enough. A little more cloudy. All right, that's good enough. And then I want some like circle things. What are they called? So this is, again, not the right level I want. What did I say, 13? All right. right, so let's see if I can get this kind of looking consistent in how I want it. Usually if you do about 4, and again, I'm very picky about these sometimes. Okay, there we go. That's what I'm after. And then, there we go. All right. Hopefully I can pick up the pace. But, like, I think whenever you start doing anything, it takes longer than once you get some pace going. But if you try and rush at the beginning, you're going to just create problems for yourself. So just kind of let your inertia or your acceleration come with time rather than trying to force it. All right, I think that works. I'm going to say that's good enough, and then I'll turn the layer back on that I shut off, and voila, that panel is, I think, done more or less. I'm good enough, happy enough with it. I like this kind of look. It reminds me a little of one of my favorite comics, Snake and Bacon's Cartoon Cabaret by Michael Kupperman. So, yeah, I will. I think I'm not going to show this panel because I think you get the idea. I just wanted to show my basic process from going from a script to the kind of a complete page. The basic process of how I'm going to go this, and to try and aim to do one page a day if I can, and get this done and call it a day, and then figure out what I'm going to do with it. So be sure to subscribe, like I said, to my Patreon and my maybe my Instagram or something if you want to follow along with this, or I'll try and post when I finish it, if I finish it, in the comments a link to wherever I've done with it. And see you there. Bye.